Morning all, I've been asked to do a review on the Mungyo Artist Soft Oil Pastels. Don't get them confused with the blue box, which are not that good. So one of my new subscribers has asked me if I would do a review on the Mungyo oil pastels, the Mungyo Gallery oil pastels that is, and we are going to do their Artist's Soft Oil Pastels, which is their professional standard. Now there is some confusion over whether these have light fastness qualities. In my opinion, and it is just an opinion, I can't see there would be any problem whatsoever with the light fastness of these, and the reason they are not telling you whether they are light fast or not is purely just to keep the cost down, because if they started doing all these tests for light fastness, etc, etc, they would have to charge probably double what they're charging, and these are a pretty good value oil pastel professional set. Okay, so as you can see, I've got a few boxes here. It's probably about a third of my collection. They do a set of 24. Okay, I'll show you the range that's in the 24, and they all come sleeve wrapped. They all have a nice little leaflet inside them. You don't need me to go through the leaflet. We all know what leaflets have. They have a little example, and they also have colour charts. Normal. Right, so that's the colour range you would get inside a 24 set. I would say that's a pretty good colour range, and you could get most things out of that. You would be limited, obviously, because you don't have subtle colours. You know, it is basically a standard set. So, I personally, if I was starting off with that, I'd be quite happy. But I would soon become frustrated and want to move on to even bigger and better sets. So there's a 24 set. Price wise, I think they're probably in the mid-20s. It's just a hazard in a guess now. I also have a 48 set. Several 48 sets. Right, again, sleeve wrapped. They all come standard wrapped, all with the standard leaflet, etc. Have this nice thing. Oh, these boxes are actually quite nice. They're sturdy enough to last a while. You're not going to have a problem with these boxes at all. So in this set you get the additional colours. You get more greys, you get a few more subtle colours, perhaps lighter colours. So that pushes you on quite a way. That's actually really quite a nice set. I believe I started off with a 48 set. So there's a good colour range there for you to look at. Let's see if they smell like most people do. Barely smell at all. There is a little waxy kind of smell there, but nothing major. Okay, so that's the 48 set. Then we have a cardboard 72 set. Now I've used this, so it's not going to be in pristine condition, but it's still worth showing you. Again, the leaflet, an even better foam covering this time, and again a nice colour range. Now with every set they're adding additional colours, additional tonal values, you know, that are a bit more subtle and a bit lighter in tone. So with every set that you get, you are getting more options for the paintings that you do. Now that's good, that's really good. The 72 set, you wouldn't need to go any higher than a 72 set if you didn't want to, but again there are more sets. To show you the wooden 72 box set, which is really nice. This is a lovely wooden box, has clasps on it, they clasp shut, and again standard. They have a lovely piece of foam here to keep things safe. They go back to the thinner foam on top of the pastels, which is understandable, and you have the same colour range again. It is worth noting at this point, moving on to the next set, that there are no fluorescent colours in here. So that is worth noting for the reasons that I will come to. So again, you're getting more subtle and lighter nuanced colours. You know, you're getting more of a selection of greys, grey greens, things like that, more tonal browns. Very nice set. Do like this set. So that's a 72 wooden box set. And then they do also a 120 box set. Now I have used this. You can see again, oh, one part of my white oil pastel. You can see again, they have the foam covering. They would have the white covering there. But again, you can see there's additional colours throughout. I'll leave this on the screen for a little bit more so you can have a good look at the colours. They are pretty mixed up right now because I have done a picture with these. Now, going back to that fluorescent colours, you can see in this top right hand corner here, there are fluorescent colours, and there is also a gold and a light gold, right? So what's this one? That's a metallic yellow, that's a metallic white, that's a silver. So all the way down to there, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 colours. If you're not likely to use them, that is kind of a bit of a waste. And I aren't likely to use them. Now, one thing I will note, going right back to the beginning of the video with light fastness, is that I have heard it said, and I believe it entirely, that any fluorescent colours are not light fast. So a painting with fluorescent colours, I would suggest that you need to get prints done. So again, you have additional colours going throughout. Look at this beautiful colour here, that beautiful colour there. You know, lighter versions of standard colours, more different tones. A great set, a great set. And again, this would be exceptional value. I think that we're probably talking in the region of 99 to 125 pounds, which for what you get is pretty good, I'd say. Now, what I do have to say again about these fluorescent colours, there is a 2024 set that has come out, and these colours, I don't know about the metallics, but the fluorescent colours for definite have been removed, and they've been replaced with these very light, subtle, like Mirandy type colours, and that gives you a lot more options. Again, that's probably going to be a better set than what this one is, and at some point in time, hopefully I will have one. But there we go, there's the sets that you can get, and an approximate guide to the price on the small one and the big one there. So what we need to know is, what do they blend like? So I'll get my 120 set again. So let's have a look. It has to be said, like I said in a previous video, that to really get the full benefit from blending, you need to do a picture and really then do a review. This is why I'm able to do this review right now, because I have done a picture. I've done 2 paintings. One didn't go so good, and in the future I will tell you why that was. But the first one, and actually was the second painting I ever did, went really well. So I will show you that at the end of this video as normal. Let's pretend, for argument's sake, I was going to do a sky. Let's start with a darker colour up towards the top of the sky. Oh, any darkish blue. Let's go for this one. It's not probably the one I'd choose, but we'll have it anyway. So let's put a light covering on there. Okay. Now it has to be said, you would build this up, and we'll put a mid value here, covering over the dark area. That's usually I do it the other way, if I'm being honest. And then I'm going to put a lighter value down towards the bottom. So there we go. Right, so you can see you've got 3 tones there for a sky now. Let's see how they blend. Firstly, I'm going to do a cotton bud. In fact, I'm going to do 2 of these, because we're then going to have a look at the pilling aspect. which is an annoyance. Okay, so I would always start from the lighter colour going up into the dark colour. Right, let's see what that blends like. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. It's covering in all the white. Look at that. I can bring the blue down into this, and we're getting a nice graduation, which is exactly what you want. There we go. That is perfect. They are smooth, they are creamy, they are not sticky, they do not melt in your hands like some of the more expensive pastels, and they blend like a dream. I would say if I had to compare them to a more expensive pastel, we'd be looking at the Caran d'Ache. However, they're nowhere near as good as the Caran d'Ache, but they are. Now let's have a look at the white, if I can find the white. Here we go, here's the white. I'm going to see, let's just out of interest, see if we could put some clouds on top of that layer. Well, not very easily. The white isn't great, look. The white blends into what's underneath it. It won't. The reason for that is because of the hardness of the pastel. Because you're having to push hard. You can just layer and layer and layer and get it brighter. So, you know, there would be options. You could leave a space in the sky for the clouds anyway if you wanted them brighter. So that would be good. So what I'm going to do now with this other part that I've done is I'm going to do this with my fingers. I never ever recommend blending with fingers because to me it's a problem. It causes pilling and it's just not the best way in my opinion. So we'll add a little bit more pastel on here. And then I'm just going to see by blending with my fingers what pilling we get, because that's an indication of a really cheap pastel. Right, so pretty much nothing. Look at that. Well, we're getting a little bit in here where it's a bit blotchy. So part of that comes from having to press too hard. Part of that comes from the pastel. But I tell you what, that's excellent. And again, you can put the white on top if that's the way you want to go. So that's rather good. Let's see if a dark colour layers up okay on it. We get the black. Let's get the black. Yeah, perfect. Get a lighter colour. Perfect. It's just the lighter colours that won't go on very well. So anything that goes over a mid-tone, you're probably going to be okay covering up what's underneath. Okay, so excellent. So great price, great quality. There isn't any transparent colours in this set. They all feel like they have a little bit of white mixed with them, which is what I really like, because that's what pastels are all about, having pastel colours. If you bought this set, you wouldn't need anything else. You could get away with just having this set. The only thing that would stop you is if you wanted different colours. But I see no need for that. They're not the hardest, they're not the smoothest, they're not the softest, but they are excellent. So very good value, very good pastel, very good colours, very good selection of sets. There is nothing bad I can say about these pastels. Not that I'd want to. So yeah, I hope that's a good review. Gives you an idea, showed you how I would blend here. You know, that is pretty much the least blending I would do on a picture probably, with the sky, but that gives you an idea of where you could go with it. So yeah, thank you. I hope that helps, and if there's anything else that you need to know that I might have missed out in a review, please ask me in the comments. So when I do the reviews, pretty much they are on the hoof. What I mean to say is I haven't got any script or anything like that. I just tell you what I think as I use them. There's no pre-prepared scripts or anything like that. So it may be that I may have missed something out. If I have, please ask me and I will tell you. I have a pretty in-depth knowledge about all these pastels, and you know, I'd like to share that. So please get in touch. So anyway, whomever, wherever you are, have a great day, great week and a great year, and be kind.